Today we're going to be talking about the best and the worst things about electric skateboards. Right, so first things first, you've kind of got to weigh up. If you're a first time rider, you've got to choose your board. Now there are a good couple of options out here. I mean, obviously there's my personal favourite, Backfire, and you've got Boost Stick, you've got Evolve, you've got a couple of different options. But one thing's for certain, stay clear from these. These Amazon skateboards that are getting advertised and sold are really not a good option. They have limited range and they have limited speed, and they advertise these higher speeds that just aren't true. For £200 or upwards, or even lower to be honest, you're not going to get anything good. Now, my best recommendation is to go for a Backfire G2. This is literally the best beginner skateboard you will find. You have a top speed of 24 miles an hour and you have a decent range. So there is a lot of things that you have to consider when buying a new board. Is it rear wheel drive? Is it one motored on the back? Is it all wheel drive? Now mostly beginner skateboards are either going to be single wheel or dual wheel rear drive. So what I'd recommend is you get a rear wheel drive with two motors. Now if you go for a Backfire G2, you are going to be absolutely fine. You're going to have two motors and you're not going to have to worry. If you go for any of these Amazon boards, you are most likely going to get one hub motor. Now the difference between a hub motor and a belt driven motor varies. So when you have a hub motor, you have a motor inside of a wheel. So I don't have one to demonstrate at the moment, but I'll put one on screen now. So you have sort of this donut wheel. It's called a donut wheel in the e-skateboard community. And what it does is the motor goes inside of that wheel and it will basically act like just kind of an overlay over the motor. Whereas if you have a belt driven skateboard, you're going to have a motor, then you're going to have a belt, then you're going to have teeth on your wheels, which then rotate the wheel. Now the difference is you do get more speed and power out of this solution if you go for belt. But for beginner, let's stick with hub motor. So we're going to go with hub motor. Now, when I started, I've been running skateboards for 3 years now. Like, electric skateboards have been completely new to me. I'd never ridden a skateboard ever before in my life, and I was a beginner. Now, at the time, Backfire was selling this board called the G2 Galaxy, and it was one of the best skateboards on the market, considering at the time that, you know, Backfire were just starting. They were just a brand new business, and they were trying to make their way through the electric skateboard community. They made a solid board. That board could go far, and it was really good to learn because it wasn't too fast and it wasn't too slow. Once I started to pick up on how to ride, everything started to kind of come to me, and then I thought, you know what, I'm ready for an upgrade. But these things will come gradually. When you buy a skateboard, there are 3 stages. First stage is getting on the board and going, whoa, this is fast. How am I ever going to stay on this thing? You'll probably get speed wobbles and you'll probably get a bit uncomfortable. You'll get a mad adrenaline rush, that's for sure. And then what is going to happen is you're going to get a bit more comfortable. You're not going to be falling off as much. You're not going to be getting so taken back by the speed. Your adrenaline is going to start to go away. One thing you've got to be prepared for is you will fall off. It is a guarantee. If you are trying to do any type of speed, you are going to fall. Be prepared to fall. It's one of the best things that can happen to you because you realize that there's nothing to be scared about when you fall. Yeah, you can get very badly injured, but if you're wearing all the right equipment or you know how to fall, then you'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, that is kind of my first overall beginning bits of the video. That's what I'd preface. These are the things that I'm going to say, and that's what I should recommend if you're watching this video as a beginner and you're worried about getting a skateboard. I understand that it can be worrying and it can be scary because an e-scooter, you've got handlebars, whereas an e-board, you are just your feet on your board, controlling it with your hand. It's a completely different vibe. So, the things that I think are bad about an e-board, if you are gonna start, you know, you're looking for one, you're thinking, okay, what are the bad things? What are the good things? So we've already been over the really bad things and what happens at the start. When you get to the bad, you start to go, okay, well, my body's got used to the speed now. I'm now used to my beginner board. I'm used to the speed that it provides me. What do I do now? So after this happens, the thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go, okay, look, I have a couple of options here. I either buy a new board that can go faster, or I learn how to get even better on my current board, which is what I did. I learned how to get even better on my current board at the time, and then I stepped up. I've had 2 more e-boards since then, and I think now I'm at the level where I can say I am fully comfortable with any skateboard I get on, no matter what the speed. Now the main thing is, if you're coming from any sort of mountain bike, BMX, e-scooter, you're going to be used to being able to go up curbs. this isn't going to happen. You can't get up curbs. It's very difficult to get up curbs on the e-board without getting off. So you're going to have to get off, get back on, then continue. Now, obviously you can find drops in the curb, which is obviously the best thing to do if you want to continue to go, but most likely you can't get over curbs. So get used to not being able to get over curbs. You will get a lot of looks from different people, which can be cool and can be bad, but you will be a target if you're on the pavement and the road. You are on an object that moves relatively fast, that is also seen as a danger to people if you're being dangerous. So you've got to take into consideration you're having a lot of eyes on you. You have got to be 100% fully focused all the time. These aren't just toys. These are proper machines that can go fast. They go the same speed as cars can and mopeds can. You've got to take into account that these boards can go fast, so you have got to be 100% sensible. Now, I'd say the last bad thing is going to be range. Now, on the lower end, the range can be really, really bad. Now, you can probably go, I'd say, if you're going full speed, you can probably get 5 good miles out of this, and then you've got to think, right, I've got to turn back. Range anxiety is a real thing on any electric vehicle, but a skateboard is 10 times more terrifying. Now, the reason why I think this is because if you come from a background like me where you haven't ridden any skateboards before, pushing a skateboard without a motor is very, very difficult to wrap your head around. Now, I've learned this skill. You learn it over time because sometimes boards can play up and you have to push the board. But if you've never had experience on this, it can be very difficult, and you've kind of got to get used to being in weird scenarios and things that can happen that just weren't expected. You've got to be ready for these scenarios, breaking down, belts breaking if you have a belt driven board, things overheating, battery running out, imbalanced cells. All these things don't get told to you when you buy these boards, but these are a real possibility. And one bonus bad thing that I completely forgot to mention is definitely repairability of these boards. Now, depending on which skateboard company you go with, warranties will vary, customer support will vary. One thing is for sure, if you are going to buy an e-board, there is a lot of maintenance. Especially with belt-driven boards, maybe not so much hub motor, but belt-driven boards, there's a lot of maintenance. You've got to be prepared to be taking this thing apart, replacing parts if you need to, making your own fixes. Now, a lot of people won't be comfortable with doing that at the money that you will be spending on a board that is decent. That is just the way it is. But if you are fine with that, then this is going to be an absolutely fine option. Let's move on to the good things. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on what boards you get, but once you go up to the higher end, you are going to get some wicked speed. I've now had a Backfire GT Galaxy, a Backfire ZS, and a Backfire ZX. Now, I've also ridden one cheap Amazon board, and yeah, you can tell from the torque and the power that you get out of these motors that these are high-end boards. They can send you from 0 to 31 miles an hour in about 2 seconds. It is mental. These things will send you flying. Now, obviously, if you're a beginner, you don't want to be doing that straight away because you will end up hurting yourself very, very seriously. So do please not get a high-end skateboard for your first skateboard. One of the main good things about this is once you get to the higher end and you start to get more comfortable on your skateboard, your range and your speed is going to be so good. You're going to be able to go miles and miles and miles. I'll leave a link in the description and on the end card to a video where I test my electric skateboard's range and its advertised range to see what it can actually do, not what it says it can do. And honestly, the results will honestly surprise you. These things are machines. Second thing is, now, what as I mentioned earlier, you get a lot of people look at you in a bad way, but you get people look at you in good ways as well. You can meet new people, and the e-skate community is 9 out of 10 pretty friendly, and there is such a small amount of e-skateboard people that honestly you would be very surprised if you find anyone that's sort of mean to you or not being nice, because people are very nice in the e-skate community, and they're always going to make sure that if you have any issues, you can come to anyone in the e-skate community and ask, because everyone is always so helpful and always shares their experiences. So if you go on Facebook and you join some different forums, you should be fine, and most issues that you encounter other people would have faced, and you can just look on Facebook and you can get some help, so if you don't have to be worried. One other thing is that you can absolutely demolish e-scooters. Now, I know that sounds bad, but when you've got some young teenagers on their e-scooters and they're thinking that they can go as fast as they like and they're the fastest thing on the road, you can just speed past them at the speed of light, or if you want to, you can match their speed and fly off. Obviously, this is depending on what e-board you've got, but honestly, electric skateboards are amazing. And obviously, one main advantage is the portability of these things. You can literally be flying down the road, get off on the pavement, pick it up, go in a shop. The movability of these things is mental. You can just put them anywhere. In the back of a car boot, no issue. Oh, hold it on your side. Oh, put it on your backpack. These things are so portable, and it's honestly one of the best features about these. It's not talked about enough. These things are really good, and they're so much lighter than any e-scooter you will find. Another thing is, if you get a belt-driven skateboard, there is nothing better than hearing that sound. So cool, and it honestly sounds so epic. So epic. Like, these boards sound so cool when they go past you, and it is also a good way of people being able to see you. So the final big thing, especially for parents, is the worry that when you buy an e-scooter, they are illegal, the police can take them off you, and it's a waste of money for parents. Whereas if you get an e-board, they're in a grey area. They're not illegal, they're not legal. So when the police see you, I have been seen by multiple police, and no police has ever talked to me and taken mine away. Now, obviously, if you're being stupid, I had a friend that got his taken away because he was sitting down in the middle of the road, flying up his road, and he got stopped. But that's understandable. Now, if you are riding sensibly and you're riding properly, then this is no worry and you should be absolutely fine. Now I'm going to go over the top 3 things from each list that I think are the most important to know out of all of them. We've got the portability, we've got the speed, and we've got the range. These 3 things are the top part of this board, and honestly, most boards are going to have these and you're going to absolutely love them, especially the portability of this. You don't have to carry around a heavy e-scooter, and they're so light. Now, the top 3 bad things I would say is the difference between hub and belts. So most people don't understand the difference and they will just get whichever one, but you've kind of got to know which one's right for you. If you're not doing much riding, it's probably best you get a hub motor, and it's probably best if you do a lot of riding that you do belt driving, because if you have a belt driven board, you're most likely going to get more torque and more speed. The same thing I say about the skateboard is the fact that you have to be prepared to take these things apart, and you have to be prepared to be able to fix them. And for a lot of people, that is a massive worry, because they don't want to be taking apart their £1,000, £500 skateboard just because they need to fix it apart. A lot of people will be intimidated by that, but you don't need to be. As honestly, a lot of the issues you'll face are very easy to fix, and it's just taking off a wheel, swapping a belt, or just looking at maybe changing a hub motor at maximum. Like, it's not going to be anything that's going to be too dangerous, and nothing electrical that's going to electrocute you. And I'd say the third worst thing is that these things are not waterproof. Unless they're advertised, you cannot take them out in the rain, you cannot take them out when it is wet, because number one, it gets very slippy, and it is also very dangerous. Now, also, I'd say the fourth bonus is obviously the risk of injury. These things are very dangerous, and honestly, the risk of injury is very much higher because you are so much more exposed when you're just standing on a bit of wood. Make sure you have the right safety gear, helmet, knee pads, shin pads, everything to make sure that you're going to be safe. But if you did enjoy this video and you learned a couple things about being a beginner, and you learned the good and the bad things about electric skateboards, comment down below what you think and what things you would have said, and if you're a long-term e-board rider. And if you have any questions and you want to ask me anything, if you're a new e-board rider, just comment down below and I will get back to you straight away. Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe this video. It's been Harry, I'm out.